convenient. My English is not perfect, but I make myself understand.
Yeah, my English is not perfect as well, but I think I can express myself better.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then sometimes we can shift to Spanish or Portuguese if needed.
Okay.
Then we can proceed as you want. You can for starting this dialogue in what I call now the circle of humanity. Circle of humanities is to deepen into the knowledge of ourselves, following the saying of the old philosophers, that is at the end of knowledge, deep knowledge, philosophy, is the knowledge of yourself. No? Know thyself. And this is the purpose of this kind of dialogue. So all these symbols of the city, of the town, and all the rights that are associated with it, the foundation rights of the old cities and towns and populations, all this is an human material. It's anthropological material to deepen in ourselves. No, it's a help to know the human nature. This is the main focus, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. And as we start studying your book and studying all the subjects here, you have the mandala concept that is like a synthesis of all this knowledge, you know, and the model for living, for the human being to organize the city and the community and to express or make visible something that is implicit inside the human, is that we are connected all together and we are one humanity. And I think this model can express this. And the city, as I understood here, the city is a way for we live this unity together and express it in terms not only of organization, but also organization, but as a main idea. So here comes some doubts that I had to make this concept useful for us today. Is that one of them, the first of all, is that how we can make something like that with such lack of religion and unity of religion. We have like many kinds of beliefs for many people. And we are talking, as you said, some part here, I don't know where, but I think it's in the first part of the first chapter of your book, that the idea of the ancient city, it's something like the globe for us today is more global community, because we're talking about all the human beings, right? So, and one thing that you point here, and it's very important, is that the religion is it holds the concept that can make us united, and we have such different ways of understanding these religions, right? I'm not making a judgment of one or another, but I'm just saying that as a whole community, that is the humanity, we have such different kinds of ways of understanding it. I know almost all of them say the same thing about but they are talking about the same things, but in different ways. I know that, and as you study the religions, you see that. but it's not how people see their own religions. They have some thoughts that are exclusivist, like we are the sons of God, and the other ones no. And this, I think it could be a drawback for this idea. And another one is that when you talk about God or gods, and you talk about all this, the symbolic, the human relation with the symbols, in my experience, and I think that the relationship master and disciple, it is an important relationship that can make you understand it better, and to overcome some limitations that we have as we are here in the multiplicity, and this relationship can help us to overcome these limitations, right?
Right.
Did I make myself understand?
Right.
Yes.
Right. There are many interesting points in all this you have said. Correct. Your focus is very interesting. The religions are. You can see the whole history of humanity as different cycles. Different periods have different qualities, and the spiritual tradition, so to say, has taken different forms. No? This is an idea that is present in the book and in all the traditional knowledges. When I say traditional knowledge, I mean traditional in the spiritual or inner sense, no? Transmission of deep knowledge about humanity. So the religion is in fact, there are only 3 religions that are the religions coming from Abraham, and based on the book, on the writing and the book. They take the book as a symbolism, as a fundamental symbolism, and the reading and the writing. And these are the Hebrew, the Christian, and the Muslim. These are the 3 religions. The others, in fact, you cannot compare very much with these religions. Buddhism is not exactly a religion. Hinduism is not a religion. Taoism, neither. Confucianism, neither. And the primitive religions, like the city, for example, or shamanic religions, are also very different spiritual traditions. Well, this is a little long discussion, no? But to go to the root is that all these spiritual traditions, you can call them like this, different periods of humanity, they have taken different forms, and they all are limited in time and space. All these religions have in the root a single and one religion that you can call the religion of humanity. And this religion has been called with different names in the different spiritual traditions. Like here in the West, we have called it perennial philosophy or perennial religion. And the Hindus call it Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma, perennial philosophy. No? So it is interesting to recognize that in the root of every spiritual tradition, there is the same religion. And this same religion, the humanists in the Renaissance call it to understand the language of the birds, because it has to do with the apprehension, with the understanding, with the comprehension of the symbolism. Because the symbolism is universal. It's not made by human beings. It doesn't depend on the period of time and the ideology and the system of culture The symbolism is universal. It is engraved in nature, in the forms and the movements of nature, of earth, planets, water, fire, etc., etc. So it's right to say that this perennial philosophy inside every religion is spoken with a language of symbols. And when we say symbols, we are saying not only representations, graphical, for example, or physical, we are saying also stories, myths, sacred histories. And we are saying at the same time rites, ceremonies, because the ceremony, when in religions, for example, when the gestures, no, the movements of the hands, etc., all these are actualizations, are dramatizations of the symbols. And in the sacred stories, in the mythology, universal mythology, and also in fairy tales of all the cultures, you find the same schemas, the same signs, the same processes. And this is another way to focus this important concept of the perennial religion. So today we are in a world that we can see probably the end of all particular religions, because they are despised, and basically they are not very well understood. They are reduced to the material level, to the childish point of view upon the sacred history. So the religion has become something for very little specialized communities, or for initiates. And this last thing is the one that I think is very interesting, because then you can take all the symbolism and actualize it, in the sense that understand that all this is speaking about you, about your inner processes. And then in these inner processes that we try to explore, to penetrate, and to understand, and to recognize, in all this, you can say that this activity is the religion properly said, because religion comes from religare. Religare means to rely, to link again what has been solved, what was not linked, what was cutted. Religion is to relink again, religio, the ligare, the verb, Latin verb ligare. And what is that we have to link again? We have to link again man with God, or you yourself with your heart, because it's in our heart where we can again link our human nature with the essence, with the real self, with the essence of yourself, with the fountain of life and comprehension and beauty and all this, no, the divine dimension of ourselves. So the religion is this linking again with this inner and infinite dimension, actually nowadays forgotten for the most part of people. So you see, we have here I spoke about symbolism and about the quintessence of religion, you know, the spiritual unity of all religions that is perfectly alive today. This kind of knowledge, inner knowledge, esoterical knowledge, that the ancients called initiation to mysteries. Initiation to mysteries. And this is a transmission that is produced through the word, through the word, because the word not only transmits concept, the word transmits energy and very subtle ways of comprehension. So what you said about the master is true. The master is the one that transmits us this direct knowledge of the symbolism and all the mysteries that appear in the stories, in the mythologies, etc. Because if this transmission is not done, you can be all your life reading books and studying and researching without finding the thing in you, without recognizing the living reality of all this in you, no? In your being.
Yeah,
this is the thing.
That's what I meant when I talk about the need of the relationship with the master, or even more the ones that are initiated on these mysteries. Because for me it's something like, well, as you said, the nature is a symbol for itself. So if the man is aware enough or awakened enough to see the symbols that the nature itself bring to us every day, we would be like initiated.
Yes.
In this very time. But it's not like that. We need this kind of special human beings that made this journey inside themselves, because I think that we have this mystery inside, and it's like we're born blind for this kind of interpretations, and it's all the time in front of us, but we just cannot see it.
Yeah.
And it's not like falling in the street and then wow, sometimes you just see it. I think this relationship, and even like I said, even more with this kind of person, the relationship master disciple, with the ones that have already been born for this kind of vision. It's fundamental for the establishment of this idea of city and even civilization as we understand the civilization.
Yes.
As something that marks our history.
Yes, the last words you said is the things that mark our history.
Yeah, the civilization, I think, is the definition for me is something that it's not just to have a society, but you have a group of people that are living something very important for the human beings, and now you have a mark on the real history of the humanity. It's not just passing times, but as you said, I don't know if I understood correctly, but you are understanding that Muslim, Christian, and Hebrew are religions and other are not. They are, I don't know, maybe some sort of philosophical way of understanding the world, but they are parts of our history because they are connecting people or relinking people with this essence.
Of course, yes. The Tao Te King, this very good book of the Extreme Orient, if I remember, says that in the origin there is no spirituality in what the mythology calls the Golden Age, or in the Hebrew tradition, the paradise, where Adam inhabits with God. It's in communion with God. There is no need of spiritual traditions. And in the Golden Age, the books, Ovid and the Manava Dharma Shastra and and Virgil, all these people say that in the Golden Age, everybody was living in community with God, with the consciousness was alive. Man was not sleeping, that we are sleeping today, no? Then there is no need for spiritual tradition. But then in the falling of the times, in the falling of history, because the traditional point of view is that we fall in spirituality, let's say, in comprehension of ourselves, no? In this way down, appears suddenly spiritually when several people start to forget this primal contact with the divine, and then the spiritually appears like something specialized, ways of remembering it. And these traditional um, spiritual traditions, we can call it like them, very old, prehistorical, very different in every place. The Indians, the Eskimos, the Hindus, etc., etc., takes different forms here and there, always using the archetypes but adapting this transmission to every kind of humanity. And in a later phase, it appears the religion. No? Religion are something still more thick and materialized and systematized, no? Becoming a system, no? Because it is directed to humanity that is much more thick, no? And each period has its own way. But now that we are at the end of all this long cycle, we have the fortune to, we can have the intuition of a new golden age that is emerging. And this new golden age, the way of transmission is also very simple, very elementary, and taking um, taking with us all these materials inherited through so many centuries and reading them here and now directly without problem, using all these things, no? Everyone according to his taste, to his cultural focus, to his likes and dislikes, no? This is what is called in the West humanities. Humanities is taking from here, from there, using all this and transmitting it with a normal language, with a simple language, a language that you invent on the way, no? According to who is listening to you. Is it like this?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I have gone very far away with through the branches.
Actually, I think I have missed some part because it just freezed for me here. One part of your explanation. And are you listening to me?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Because you were saying of this.
Maybe I have to be closer to the micro, or it is freezing sometimes.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think I got an idea.
I think that what is very interesting also is this idea of using symbolism.
Yeah.
And particularly in the case of the city, of the town and its foundation, the symbolism of mandala. Because do you have my book here with you?
Yes.
Can you find the image of the mandala?
Yes. Just give me a minute here. Here.
Can you put it into the screen very big? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. In this schema, you see the center and the periphery. You can say something because then it becomes big. Can you say mandala, center, and periphery? Okay, it's too complicated.
Which page?
It's for me it was. I wanted to have the image in the screen to comment it.
Okay.
But if I speak, my image appears, not yours.
Yes.
No? But it's okay because it's already
Okay.
seen and recognized. No?
I see it.
So this is the basic thing, no, in understanding the idea of a town and the city and the essence and the symbolism of the city, because the mandala has two parts: the center and the periphery, the center and the circle. And so, related to each of us means that we human beings, we live in this double dimension, we could say, no? That we have the external part, what we can call the circle of our life and of ourselves, that is the only part nowadays recognized, socially recognized. And all our formation at home, in school, in the university, everywhere, in the relationships, friends, etc., is based in this sharing, this circle that makes of each one of us a person. So the circle, we can say it's our personal dimension, individualized. Individualized. This means individual means that it has a shape, it has a limit. Our person is limited because it's based in the body. And the body has a shape, and this shape is different in each one. And also, the person has a thought, system of thought, and concepts, visual concepts, remembers, memories, images. All these are shapes. And all these shapes constitute our thought and our thought systems and our thought programs. And everyone has his own, individualized, different from the others. And at the same time, we have emotion. No? This can we say that are the three parts of the person: thought, emotion, and physical dimension, no? Soma. And emotion goes with the thought, and the emotion are the feelings, no, of attraction, repulsion, fear, etc. No, all the movements of the soul, of the individual soul, that also they have a shape, they have a color, they have a quality, different in every family, different in every population, in every country, etc. No? And all these three aspects give the global shape of the person. That is the circle of ourselves. If we refer all this to symbolism, to geometrical symbolism. The geometrical symbolism, Plato, the prince of the philosophers, says that is the main thing of philosophy, the geometrical symbolism, because he says God geometrizes always. Always God geometrizes. This thing is making geometry, let's say, in the creation of the world, here and now, because the creation is here and now. God is creating continually the world with all these shapes and patterns and symbolism that are forms. And then the other dimension of ourselves, following the geometry of the mandala, is the center. And in the center is the most important part. It's our spiritual dimension, we can say, our eternal being, our true self, our being in capital letter, here and now, always being. And this is the more important part. That is not a part, because in fact it's a whole.
Yeah.
It's the one that contains the person and all the persons and all the shapes of the world. And this one is represented by the center. And geometrically, this is very interesting, because the center, if you realize it, is that in space, in the space, the center is precisely symbolizing all this that has no shape, no space. The point has no dimension. Is there no dimension? It's beyond the dimension, beyond the space. It represents this that is beyond the space. And this is precisely what we are as consciousness, here, present, as life, as awakening, as presence. All this is represented by the point. But for example, Saint Clement of Alexandria, this father of the church, says that God is a center, is a point that is everywhere. And this is very interesting, because then you understand that the geometrical symbolism is not literal. It's just a language, no? A way of saying the things. But this center is everywhere because it's outside of space. And also, it represents in time, no? Because space and time are the two dimensions of our physical world. No? The sensitive world has two dimensions, space and time. This is Einstein and physics. No? Well, and in the other dimension, the point represents the time that doesn't move, eternal time. Because the time in the cosmos is always represented by a cycle. Our reference is not only the clocks that have this circular reference for the movement of time. It's basically the movement of sun and moon and the planets that all go out through the same point, and they go down to the other point of the sky, no? And this is a circular movement. And the planets, and also all the sky moves in circles around the polar star. These are the elementary principles of cosmology as we see it from the Earth, from the human position. That is the first for understanding symbolism, because you have your feet on the Earth and the bottom on the chair. And the geocentrical position is the first to understand the cosmos. So all this to say that the time is also always represented by a circle, and that the point is precisely the center of this circle, but the point doesn't move. Represents the one that doesn't move. That is always, let's say, a simultaneous dimension, not a successive dimension. And in the Timaeus, this dialogue, Plato inherits this symbolism of the Pythagoreans to explain, to symbolize the relationship between time and eternity. And the circle, peripherical, where our person lives, the circle represents linear time, cyclical time, successive time, made of different moments and qualities, whereas the center represents eternity. And eternity, in its proper sense, is not successive, it's simultaneous. This means that eternity is here, now, always being. And these words are not appropriate to define it, because it's another dimension that is so simple that is difficult to grasp by our mind. But we are always being in the present, always. It's our first nature to be in the present. Being in the present means to awaken without knowing, but being.
It's a special state of consciousness.
Yes.
Like something that you expand your consciousness so that you can. It's not a perception that you can make with your mind,
No.
because this mind here is
Yes, limited.
Cartesian. It's Cartesian.
Yes.
Yeah, it judges this as a Cartesian way of understanding it.
You're right.
The word. Yeah.
We are.
And one thing that is interesting in this relationship between the center of the circle and the circle itself is like this irrational number, the p, is the relationship between this circumferences and its diameter that passes through the center of consciousness, that is irrational now, and it's eternal. You can like calculate p, and you can add as many numbers as you want. You never get to the end of it, because it's a relationship between something eternal and something real, right?
Yes.
And this is and that's the point where I think that the relationship with this, or acquiring this higher state of consciousness, is not just something that you can read about or study, or someone can say it to you, but you have to have a guide to make your consciousness expand to this way.
Yes.
Because it's not that simple, right? We just study from our school this relationship between the number p, the relationship between the diameter and the circumference, and it's just a number. It doesn't represent anything highly elevated, or makes yourself like no, it doesn't allow you to know the world in a different way. It's just a mathematical relationship. Just like this symbol, it's just a drawing. If you don't have someone to guide you to this kind of experience,
yes,
of the symbols and all the stuff.
Yes, you are right. And you have said a very interesting thing, that our personal mind, this distinction that we make between our person and our being, our periphery and our center, it's related to this reality that we have two minds, or two aspects of our mind. We have the mental dimension. This is the proper name of the consciousness related to the brain. That is, you say, very, you have said rational or limited, I don't know which word, Cartesian, you said, no?
Cartesian.
It's very, we can say that this mind in the brain is dual, is the mind, properly speaking, no? In Latin, mens, it relates in Sanskrit language to man, no? To man, and to the hand, and to activity, no? Is the mind for acting and for comparing, and it works in the dual dimension. But beyond this mind, there is the fountain of consciousness. And this fountain, this source, is in the heart. And the heart is the superior mind, the heart of man. It's a man, Alan Watts, this great writer of the first half of the 20th century, Alan Watts said that the mind in the heart, that is the buddhi, the Buddhists call it buddhi, the superior intelligence. The old people say intellectus. Intellectus is the name of the heart. And it's like a lamp that doesn't focus, that irradiates in all the directions, to the front, to the back, to left, to right, up and down, like a sun, like a star. And so it's different from the mental, because the mental is a kind of consciousness that focuses. We focus the screen, my image, the table, the tree, no? The mental consciousness works in individual fields, limited shapes, comparing and putting names. It's a minor mind. It's a minor consciousness. The root, the base of this thing, no, this function, is in the heart. The heart is the primal consciousness. So all these geometrical considerations that are real pointings to the thing, are to point the thing. To symbolize means to point, like the finger that points, it says here, there, no? The circle and the center are to point a reality that is our reality, what we are, no? These pointings are to look inside, no? To recognize what we are saying, no? About what are we speaking, no? And this mind in the heart, this consciousness illuminated in our heart, is not a focused. It is not focused. So it's a vague kind of understanding. It's not precise, but it's real and terribly effective. It's here and now, operating. It's the one that perceives the presence, the fact that we are here and now, present, with the open heart, without knowing nothing special. The one who knows things is this one. The heart doesn't know anything, perceives everything at the same time, beyond the senses, because it perceives the external world of the senses and the internal world that is made of thoughts and feelings and emotions. And it's beyond these personal dimensions. And it is for this that this intelligence of the heart, this intellectus, is called void, no? Perception of the void, because it just means void of shapes, void of concepts, void of things. And this, even if we think that we don't know, we are in it continually. And the mandala helps us to understand this double dimension and to learn to reside, to inhabit in our heart, awakening to this other dimension that is always present, here and now. And this is the basis of society, of communities, of politics. Because it is from this center that is made of peace, eternity, silence, not knowing we could say, not knowing. Because this one is the one who knows, but the heart doesn't know. Knows how to listen. Then this is the basis of society. This is the basis of relationship in the family, with your couple, with your sons, in politics, in the parliament. To be able to reside, to live in the silence, in this primal silence of that your heart perceives in a natural way, without effort. Because from the silence, you can see the others. You can understand what they say because you are clean. You can listen to to what the cosmos is saying to us. No? This in nature, we do it in nature. We listen to what the birds are coming to say us when we are silent, quiet in the nature. No? So that the most important thing is to develop this conversion of our attention, this looking back. This is the religion. The religion is a conversion, is directing our attention back to our heart and to the inner dimension. And like this, we have access to the center of the city, where the sacred mysteries happen, where the altar is. The altar, the symbolism of the altar, is a symbolism of our heart, with a flame of the fire lighted there, full of comprehension and love. We can say love because love has to do with quietness, with well-being, confidence. So all this is for meditation, let's say. No, the Plato calls this dialectics. The dialectics is to use the dialogue and the words to investigate the truth. And the truth has no shape. The truth is this essential dimension of us all. We can call it God, consciousness, supreme self, the universal dimension. Because the universal is the opposite of individual. Individual means that has shape, and universal is what has no shape. And what has no shape is the divine, because it's not divided, it's one. So our true self is one, beyond the individual person of every one of us. So the humanities is to talk about, with this kind of symbolic elements, to talk about what we have understood of our nature, to share it with others.
Yeah, in this way of thinking and following your presentation here, it is clear that we have to awake everybody, or as many people as we could, for this other reality, and coming from this understanding of the life and the society and the relationships and everything, from yourself in first place, from this kind of understanding, we can make the ancient city alive again, right? Because it comes from this understanding and community living of these ideas, right?
Yes.
It is a result of this process.
Yes, right.
It is a result of this of the human beings being connected to this essence, and this is the truly religion,
Yes.
right? Because as you said, it reconnects, rebounds, relink everybody around something that is common for everybody. That's
Yeah.
why I started this conversation with so many different ways of seeing this this essence of the human beings, and how difficult it is, because when we are when we born, when we are, come from this side of the life, as we could say, the material side of life,
Yeah.
our consciousness is just inside the vehicle, and it's inside the soma and the psyche, as
You're
you
right.
can say, or the circle itself, not in the point, but in the circle. It's looking, maybe looking to the point, but from different parts of this circle. And somebody that's its diameter of me is in the other diameter. Looking to this, it may seem like odd, different, but in fact, it's looking to the same place, but they do not recognize it, because you know, they're looking this way and you are looking that way, so it could not be possible to be the same for this consciousness. And one thing that calls my attention is that we have this experience and in our lives, and the example may be seen like foolish, but I think it represents a little bit our position today, when we have like a classroom full of kids, and it doesn't have teacher. So we search for someone that could, you know, say something, or let's decide what we will do. If we don't have teachers inside this classroom. And it's something like this when we call to our religions today, you know, like we are like infants in this relationship with this eternal reality and consciousness of the point, you know, or this eternal reality, which is what we are inside, but we don't know how to make the way through it and expand our consciousness to understand the world like that, you know. And that's why I found so difficult to not to understand, but to imagine this whole community, the world global community, united by this point, this altar, this big altar for the humanity, which is the center of oneself, as you said. If we don't have a culture or a way of people look to this and have the experience of it in special, but because understand it is one thing, feel it is another thing, that it's quite different. You have to be experienced with it. You have to put yourself to meditate on these ideas, to find this point or this altar inside yourself first. And for that, I think that the guide or the man that is your master, or you know, that could lead you to there, it's a point that is missing today for this whole system to be organized, and we can have this idea of, which is like really Cautiva, this city, this idea of the city is really captivating, but it needs a common effort for it to be alive again. It is alive because the symbols are here. Yes, I agree with that. But the way that we can live it is the point that I am now on my meditations and my study of your book.
Hmm.
You know.
Yes, today the only way is to work like we are doing now, or in small groups. And we are not in a period of humanity that we can go to the Delphic oracle and to say,
It
listen,
would be great.
I have a community here of people that are completely needed of orientation. What can I do? And the oracle says, take them to the other side of the sea, and there, when you find a drunken cow, you follow her, and you know, we can.
Yeah.
It's not the time for doing. Maybe because things are changing very soon, and maybe new things are going to happen. But in the present state of humanity, I can tell you that I have done this in the university. But this doesn't mean that everybody has to do it in the university. You can do it like this in the book, the La Ciudad Cautiva. Further on, you will see that is spoken about the kingship, and saying that this humanistical thing that every one of us, from the humanistic point of view, we are kings. The symbolism of the king is very interesting because the king is connected through the crown, is connected to heaven, and listening to
Yeah.
his heart, and realizing a service, because the thing of the noble men and the kings is service. And then, in this point of view, each one of us has a kingdom. Life and God has given you, since you were born, a kingdom that you have to discover. Where is your kingdom? For me, it has been in different universities. Something sometimes very big, speaking to big assemblies of people. When you have to adapt your speech to the comprehension of this mass of people, and then with small seminars where you can go deeper, but having care of what you say, and everyone has to discover his own town, his own city that is underground today. The modern city is underground. You and I, for example, now here through internet, we are in a city, in a new meeting. I said two citizens that meet in the assembly, in the parliament, to share important concepts about what? About common good. About the common good we are speaking. The common good.
Yeah.
And the common good is the salvation. The Christians called this common good Jesus Christ, who says that when two of you or three of you or more that meet in my name, I will be present there. So Jesus Christ is the present, is the man, the universal man that we are. And this, if you go to the mass, they are all the time speaking about this and symbolizing, and it's a beauty, to see all this liturgy. If you can use it for your development, no. But you don't need to go there. And the Muslims do it with Muhammad, and with the light and with the unity of God. You can, if you have the keys of the symbolism, you can go in every church or mosque where you are invited, and to adore your God. And we can adore it now here, because to adore means to recognize this other silent dimension that is present now beyond all these words, and to and to and to and to live in it, to eat it, communion, not only to recognize it, but to eat it, to drink this body. In the Christendom, it is called body. this consciousness, this void, this limited limitless space that we perceive in our heart is called body in the Christianity, and also in Tantric Buddhism. Dharmakaya, a body without organs that we all share. And then how do you do it? How can you do it? Living in it, recognizing it, and eating it. Eating means transforming yourself in it. This great master of our days, Muji, from the Advaita Vedanta, in the lineage of Ramana Maharshi, he says, marinate in it. When you recognize it, like now that can recognize this eternal dimension, quiet and void, without special content, we can eat it, drink the blood of Jesus Christ, the sacred body that we are, the primal body. And to spend time in this and this, when you do this, you are doing city, town, you are creating community, even if the other people don't know. Because if you do this, when you go home and you are with children and family and so ever, they, in a certain way, they have already received this to the extent that they are a little bit open and that there is love in the atmosphere. And if you talk about this when it's convenient, because it's not very many times that you can speak about things, But if you are in a school, you meet people that are interested, then you create city, You point to the common good, and the city is created. What the ancients called polis, city, the Muslims call ummah, the community of the faithful. And the Jews call it synagogue. That is a Greek name. Syn means together. Synagogue. Agoge is meeting together. Synagogue, meeting together for sharing the common good. And in the Christianity, it's called ecclesia. It's another Greek word that means reunion. Ecclesia. Sacred community. And this in nowadays, in our times, is done like this, informally. Whenever you can, and you receive in your heart inspiration for where and how have you to do it. If you find this illusion, estas ganas, de compartir, And the grace, the divine grace, will tell you where you have to speak and where not, and how can you do it better? Which technology have you to use, and which language? Because, for example, this to explain all this through the symbolism of the town and the city is something that happened to me. Why? I don't know. It was in the university, in my university career. Through studying letters and geography and then history, and suddenly the city and urbanism appear as my field. But for another is another field completely. There is no need to speak about city and urbanism and all this. There is no need even of the theory of the mandala. You can go through other ways that are adapted to the people that you have in front.
Yeah. No, very good. And I think the mainly conclusion of this is that you're talking like for the city and sociopolitically, but the solution is ethical. it's individual. It's like you have to listen to what is your own connection and try to
Yes, yes,
give it to the others.
yes. But don't call this individual, because this leads you to universal.
Yeah. In this sense, yes.
Yes,
To the point that it's
yes.
universal.
No, because it's a very important thing, this, because nowadays many people ask this kind of questions, but how can we change the world or improve our living in the towns and in the countries only in acting individually? But it's not acting individually. First of all, it's not acting, because all this is not a doing, it's a non-doing. This is a very important subject, because in this inner recognizing, there is not a doing, is a stop of doing. Because the great doer is the mind. Huh? And when you go to your heart, you stop doing. Then it's not a doing. And this non-doing is not individual, it's universal. And is the only effective way. It's not true that from the let's say the mainstream way of thinking of the society of our days, they disqualify you in this kind of things, saying that this individual and that this is very little. No, is the greatest. Because society, you only can change or modify or improve society and social life through this kind of religion of or heartly connection. All the other is rubbish. The social, yes, it's consequence. Social engineering is finished. Finished.
Yeah.
Yes. You cannot have more.
We are not machines.
No, we are not machines. You're not machines. And even if it is true that sometimes you have to design things, no? If you have a school, a university, you have to design to say, listen, it will be at this hour, this day. You are the secretary, you organize it, etc. If you have to organize, you need you need this kind of activity, no? But of this that we can call it engineering, no? Social organization engineering. When of these we have plenty. 3 centuries of designing parliaments, revolutions, reform of forms of government, committees, etc., etc., etc. We have plenty of this. The only thing that is lacking is the true religion, in this sense that we were speaking, no? The connection with the non-doing, with the void, no? The Taoist called void, non-doing. Contemplation, you could say. In the West, we say contemplation is above action. And action is not only moving with the legs and the arms. Action starts in the mind. And all this is going beyond the individual mind, beyond the person, recognizing the center, what the center symbolizes here and now, in the present. So all this kind of, let's say, all these kind of explanations that are put in this book that you read, La Ciudad Cautiva, have to be actualized in the sense we are doing here, no? Connecting this with a present that is alive, that is us, that is you, but that is real. It's not just a theory, no?
Yeah. And what do you think is the main resistance for everybody to go to this non-doing kind way of experience? You know, we have
Yes.
some stories like fairy tales, but they mean something very important. That is the fear of the unknown. You know, this place where the me, the real me, lives inside the heart is unknown. It's like this hole in Alice. You know, she has to jump and she doesn't know how to jump, and she doesn't know if she will be alive in the end of this hole, you know. And I think this is one of the main resistance that we have, because when you try to do something like that, like meditating in some subject, first of all, it's very difficult to stop the mind and to stop judging the symbol, or stop thinking about what you were meditating. This is for the first one. And I guess the difficulty, and I don't know how to say it, but it's like it's a safe place to think about things. The other kind of meditation is unknown, and we are just too scary of it. You know what I mean? And this resistance is something to be meditated.
Yes, this is very important. We can say that there are two things, no, in this kind of superior knowledge. No, the first one is to taste the center, to recognize the center. What we have been doing here, to recognize this eternal dimension or consciousness in the present that we are, this awakened consciousness here and now in the present, and to realize its voidness, its beauty, the possibility of not knowing suddenly, listening from the heart, and to live in it, to reside in it, to inhabit in it, as long as you can, tasting it, appreciating it, adoring it. This is the first. And the second thing is to cope with the mind that is is a prisoner of, is a dictatorship. We have transformed our mind in a dictatorship, and we think that we must always to be listening to it constantly. And we have a long habit, because our education has been this, to listen continually to the mind and to develop the contents of the mind and to deal with all these contents, designing things and projecting, etc., no? And also with emotion, that there is a very, very strong habit of obedience and buying all the products that our mind is offering. And then the let's say the knowledge, the true knowledge way is in the other way. It's calming the mind and telling the mind, listen, now don't disturb me, because I am focusing in another way, no? So that you have to cope with your mind. You have to cope, because the mind is going to counterattack, and this is normal, and it's part of the game. And this second kind of practice that you can call auto-indagación, no, self-knowledge, no, self-attention, no, that is constantly listening to your mind and to your emotion, but without going with it. This is the other very important meditation, to introspect you with attention to your thoughts, but not following them, but saying, okay, you are here. I see. What do you say? All this that the mind says to us, that this is an individual thing, that this is very difficult. I cannot do it because I am not qualified. I cannot do that. That this is for sages, for another kind of person. All these things you have to to recognize them, to listen to them, but to see that besides all this, you are present here. You are already illuminated. Your awakened state is already here. So it's a double game. First, recognizing how good is the chocolate and tasting the chocolate, how good it is, or the blood of Christ, how this liquor of life, no, this ambrosia that said the old people that were the liquor of the gods, the drink of the gods, how good it is. This other body of vacuity, how good it is to reside there, to inhabit there. This one thing. And the other thing is to cope with your thoughts, like a bullfighter with a bull. The bullfighter uses the...
Yeah.
And there are many symbolisms of this, no? You could say, cope with the devils. In the symbolism, in the symbolism of the city, you find the second circle after the priestly community in the altar, around the altar in the sacrifice. The second circle is the nobleman, is the warrior that avoid the demons to put shit in the altar, you know. This is your worldly part, your mental defense against the thoughts, your own thoughts and the thoughts of the other that put you in an alarm state or in a completely distracted way, no?
Yeah, our inner chakra.
Yes, inner chakra.
Yeah, to protect the Brahman.
Yes, because there is a very strong habit. We have the habit of attending to the sayings and of our thought, our mind.
Yeah.
Our mind that is programmed, because mind, individual, is also collective. It's individual and collective, no? Because it's programs, computer programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you again.
Best. See you. Bye.
See you. Bye.